The intention was to leave New Zealand end April and head for British Columbia. We've been planning this sea change now for many years. But we had a late start due to medical matters and only got away beginning of June. Not that that is an impossible time to do this long haul, but it does make it a touch and go with hurricanes and very little time to stop on the way. The day we left, it was flat calm, a very deceiving image of what this voyage turned out to be. By evening the second day, we had the second reef in, and by nightfall day 3, a nightmare of a gale. We experienced the feared boom slap and got stranded mid-ocean with a main sheet traveller bursting out of its slot and dragging in the ocean. With all the tatters bounded together, scared me and tired him, bedded down for hove to time. MYLADY drifted the opposite direction of where we had to go during the gale. The weather forecast gave bad weather for the next week. Over a cup of tea in the cockpit, making a jury rig, we had a re-evaluation of what, why, where and when in our lives and decided to follow Barcelona, an elderly cruising couple, downwind. Instead of beating east, we will glide with the wind and waves to the west, direction South Africa. So skipper set the sails northwards to the warmth of Fiji. It was a tough and rough ride all the way. Wonderful, warm Fiji. What a lovely people. Always smiling, always helpful. Always on Fiji time. With a hurricane mooring secured in Savo, we started cruising. By the point at Gusto's, we got acquainted again to the swing behind our anchor in turquoise water. Our first leg to Nassau-Sobo Bay was perfect sailing. The pass through the reef wide, clear and marked, and the bay itself totally protected. We became part of the friendly family and stayed 2 weeks. And just imagine, guavas in the wild! Our next stop was Vianney Bay, where all the yachts go. And in contrast, it was a big, unprotected and unpleasant bay with very deep anchoring. We left as soon as we could for Somo, where we also had to run from an earlier arrived northerly and charged with 45 knots on the beam over to Catherine Bay in Rambi. It was a full-on but pleasant sail. The sea very big, but not furious. As soon as the wind turned favourable, we left Rambi for Butt Reef, which is part of the Ringgold Islands north of Taveuni. In front of the school we dropped anchor in a lovely swimming pool, and our 2-week stay kicked off perfectly. We were invited to the Mecca the day of our arrival, and 2 weeks later I made a video for them of the Mecca. Please watch my movie, Butt Reef. This was the first time in 10 years for me to see live coral above water. It was fascinating and very interesting. We cruised the many bays as the wind required and saw flying stingrays a few times. On a high note and good wind, we left for Rambi. A perfect sail to Rambi. We lost a very strong bite on the fishing line, sailed around the northern tip of the Rambi Reef and dropped anchor in Albert Cove. It was one of those days when the color of the reefs hypnotizes with a stunning beauty, belying the dangers. It is our second time to Rambi, and we loved it once again. This time we explored Albert Cove and Elizabeth Cove. Please watch my movie Pacific Jungle Safaris. The water carriers were absolutely fascinating. We visited the Banaban VCO factory and watched the dance and song competition at Nuku again. Sadly, just at the height of the best dance performance, my camera batteries were empty. The competition was completely different than that of the previous year and very good. We dropped back in at Taveuni and Nassau-Sobo Bay before we left to Coral Island, where we caught up with the happy monsters. Please watch my movie Hans and Dory. On Corro we saw the We Don't Have Snakes, and Hans recorded my ocean song.
Dwelling on the ocean, we dance with the breeze and waves. Wind and currents take us to beautiful beaches and bays. We drift with wonder in the vast blue yonder. Fiery skies at break of day, when rainbow fish still play. When the swell comes rolling and lifts us high in the sky.
Nairai was the next island in our vicinity. Perfect blue water sailing to there. Sunshine, smooth seas, enough wind, the height of any sailor's dreams. Nairai is only a stone's throw away from Suva, the capital, yet extremely remote. No airplanes, only a once-a-month ferry, maybe. Being without supplies happens often. I spread my maternal wings around Anna, and for one thing taught her some sewing. After I got Ilko to make one workable machine out of two broken and useless ones. More machines appeared out of nowhere, begging attention. Chief Inozi was a wise man and fatherly, even offered us to stay. We made many plans and dreams as we walked on our island. We visited now and spent time in Suva searching for homebrew kit. Sadly, our mission was unsuccessful. We did got printer ink, however. A southerly shook us around in Suva, so we took the opportunity to chase up north to Ovalau. We arrived early evening in Lefuka and were stunned by the stinking fish smell. Phew! As soon as we could the next day, we sailed to the western side of Ovalau. For me, the island of Ovalau was beautiful and the people interesting. We caught the carrier to Lefuka, the first capital of Fiji and a World Heritage Site at Fiji Day, and that was a valuable experience. Songhai was the next island on our chart. Our sail to there, good. Weather was grey, but we had good light at the time we had to zigzag through the pass in the reef. We stayed a week and thoroughly enjoyed the experience. The island thrives with interesting history of a leper colony for the Pacific, the current project of growing clams, and mangoes that rot the island into a hive of frenzied flies. Weather changed, and we have arrived home. Our address for the next 6 months, Savu Savu Marina Moorings. We are in the last pond of the creek, with a panorama view over the high mountains on the other side of the pearl farm in the big bay. Around us the low tide exposes the shallows and brings local fishers to entertainment distance. It has been raining for days. Ilko is preparing to go and earn some freedom chips for us, and I will stay and guard our home. As always, have to do lots of boat painting and too much sewing. Thanks for watching. Please keep in touch.